How can we work out our salvation? Let's discover truth together in God's Word. Hi, I'm David, and I want to help you go further on your faith journey. And if you'd like to travel with us verse by verse through God's Word, please consider subscribing, hit the bell notification icon, and that'll let you know when all the new videos come out. You know, I should probably work out a lot more, and over the years I haven't really spent a whole lot of time in the gym, but I have a lot of friends who have, and I know a lot about the process. I know the exercises, I know the routines and all that kind of stuff, but there's a big difference between knowing what to do and actually working out. You see, I can sit at home with all this vast knowledge I have on the subject, but I never really gain the benefit of working out unless I actively engage in that activity. Philippians chapter 2, verse 12 and 13 says, "So then, my beloved, just as you have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who is at work in you, both to will and to work for his good pleasure." We need to put this in context. The church of Philippi wasn't told to work for their salvation. That would be impossible. Salvation comes by the grace and mercy of God based on his work on the cross. What they were really told is to put into practice the salvation that they had obtained. And Paul gives us a little bit of a perspective here. He talks about the concept of obedience in working out their salvation. This idea that they obeyed God and continued to do the things that he called them to, and to listen to God's word and act upon it in obedience. It's one thing to obey when somebody's looking over your shoulder, but real obedience, that heart attitude, comes when nobody's watching and you still do the right thing. And that's what Paul's saying here, is that you obeyed in my presence, but now even much more so in my absence. You continue to obey. You continue to do the things that God called you to. You continue to follow his plan for your life. So he's encouraging them to continue to put into practice that faith with a sense of awe, a sense of urgency, that they continue to practice the faith in an active fashion. It's real easy for us to get sidetracked by the intellectual or the spiritual sides of our faith and to neglect the practical aspects of it. But Paul doesn't want us to forget that this faith is an active faith, that we are to be doers of the word. We're to be actively involved in making a difference in this world, that the faith that we have should change the way that we act and interact with those around us. And what this is, it's an inside-outside approach, that what's happening is God is working inside of us. And because of that work, it affects the way that we act outwardly. It affects the way that we talk to people. It affects the way that we treat others. It affects the work ethic that we have, and a myriad of other things. Because of God's work in our heart, it changes us and the way that we act for good. And it says here, both to will and to work for his good pleasure. You know, God has a plan, and that plan involves us getting involved in actually doing something. We can't sit in the ivory tower and discuss spiritual, theological things without ever engaging our community, without ever stepping out and maybe busting out of our comfort zone a little bit and making a difference in the life of people. Imagine God looking at the choices that you make and the decisions that propel you farther down the road and just smiling. That the things he's working in your heart right now for his good pleasure, that you act on those things, and it just makes him smile. Continue to work out your salvation. Get involved. Take the faith that you have and make it active. Make a difference in the lives of others. Hey, thanks for spending a few minutes with me as we travel verse by verse through God's Word. Make sure that you like and share this video, and please consider subscribing if you want to take this journey with us, and we will see you guys next time.